Welcome back, friends, and welcome to all my first time viewers. I am so excited because today we get to talk about gardening trends for this year and beyond. And the overarching theme is about lemonading. And if you're not sure what lemonading means, it's really from the expression that says, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So we're going to take a look at all the details about that. And my name is Marlene if you've never been here before. Now let's go ahead and get started. So in the garden, lemonading is about taking a more fuss-free, low maintenance, more eco-friendly, taking things that are broken and making something good out of them that you enjoy and just making your garden a restful place for good emotions. So the first one is that you'll see less manicured lawns and more wildlife support. These are some beautiful poppies right here. And that free flow, there's a lot more of that coming in. But of course, lawns aren't going anywhere. It's just a little bit less of those and a little bit more of plants that bring in pollinators, that we can enjoy. Like this beautiful butterfly right here. This is actually an eastern tiger swallowtail butterfly. And if you love these butterflies, give me a thumbs up, guys. I just love to see when they come to my garden. Those are some pentas right there. And boy, is he or her, are they having a good old time over there. And it just helps to relax you, and it brings nature in. And they're doing double duty because not only are they basically coming in and making us relax and feel good about our space, but they're also helping to pollinate our fruits and veggies so we can have higher yields, and we absolutely love that. Moving on to the next one, and that would be you're seeing more colorful leaves, colorful foliage. These are some caladiums right here. And so what's basically going on is that you're going to see where some people are not trying so hard to have lots of flowers. These are some coleus right here. They get like just plants that have beautiful colored leaves, and that's enough for them because all the variety that you see being offered here, it adds that pop of color and it brings your eyes in. Of course, there are other plants you can you can pair them with. I've done from time to time, but if you just wanted to just have something that's mainly for the leaves, then these are perfect, and they have lots of different combinations. Just bear in mind that you're checking to see which ones are more for part sun, which ones are more for full sun and for shade, because they do have different varieties of those. They do produce flowers, but they're tiny, so it's more about the leaves more than anything else. This right here is another one. This one is good, and it's called bloodleaf. Very unusual name, but I'm sure you can see why they would call it that. This over here would be the polka dot plant. And so it does produce flowers, but they're really, really tiny. So again, it's the main focus right here, as far as having color that the leaves are going to give you. And these like part shade, you can even grow them indoors if you like, and they make nice house plants, and they're just so, so beautiful. Of course, you can mix and match them. But again, when you're putting these out, just make sure that you're matching them color by color in terms of, cool and warm, but not mixing things up in a way that's going to be, not pleasing or, not easy on the eyes. So it's always good to bear that in mind, when you're putting your plants together. Now, as far as, being a little bit more free flow and bringing more wildlife, a lot of interest has gone over into ground covers as well. These are some creeping phlox that I've had, or some people, the mountain phlox is similar, where they have them, as ground covers in the garden, and less grass is needed because, we have these instead. There's also something called no-mow May, which has been around for a few years. And some people don't mow their lawn in May. I do, but this is the backyard right here. We love to have the little rabbits come by. So if they're a little bit, it's a little early in the month, we'll just watch them and then we'll mow after a while. But there is this no-mow May, but make sure it's okay with your subdivision if you live in one. And these are some beautiful coneflowers right here, and they certainly do bring the pollinators in. I love them, and they're very, very hardy. They're drought tolerant, and this is what we're looking for more now these days, low maintenance plants, and that one is definitely one. Another category would be, or another trend I would say would be Moody plants, where they have darker leaves and darker flowers on many of the plants that are coming in. And I don't think this is one that's going to go away for quite some time. Those are some Cana right there, Cana if you say it that way. And this is a smaller variety right here. So whether you have a large space or a smaller space, there are different plants and different varieties that will work for you, like these right here. And I think they're so gorgeous. These are tropicals, so if you're in a cold area, you will have to take up the roots and then plant them back the following spring. These are some lilies right here, the dark coloration, so the flowers are getting darker for some of these too. And it's, moody gardening. Some people like it, some people don't. It just depends on what you prefer. These are some myrtle right here with the dark foliage, and you can see the ones behind them, that those are actually the regular green color that we're used to seeing. For cooler weather, these are some hooker right here. So these are able to, withstand the cooler temperatures. And they produce pretty little flowers too, that look like little bells, which is kind of where they got the name from. But the leaves are very striking, and they really grab your attention as far as the color goes. Over here, these are some large elephant ears. You can see how big they are. These are maybe like about maybe 6 to 7 feet tall in this space right here. And I think they're so beautiful. And you can see how they pair them very well. But these are some begonias right there. And I think there's a salvia at the back. But everything just looks really good. And it's that color if you like it. Now, if you have like part shade areas or even indoors, cordyline has become a lot more popular in recent years. I've seen lots and lots more of them. A few years ago, I didn't see that many. They're great as thriller plants in the center of your container gardens. You can put nice plants around them, and they work really well. And again, part shade, or you could even have them indoors if you like. The next category would be edible landscape gardens. We're seeing a lot more of that trending, where more and more people are concerned about what they're eating, so they're trying to grow, food for themselves. Of course, it's not going to supply your full grocery list, but it certainly will help to supplement it quite a bit, and that way you know what you're eating. Be sure though that you see them in your garden center, so that way you know that they'll grow in your area, because you don't want to get something that it looked really nice online, you bought it, but then it's not thriving because it's not really made for your area. So of course you have tropical type plants that grow better in those areas, and you have the plants that are more cold hardy that grow in your area. So again, guys, just see what's at your garden center to get a pretty good idea on that. And I've noticed in recent years that pomegranates, I don't have one myself, but I've seen quite a few of these coming up over recent years, as well as figs. More and more people are growing figs, in my growing zone 8 and the cooler areas. Of course, they also grow in the tropical areas too, because I've seen those. These are some grapes. A lot more grapes are coming out more in recent times. Of course, you can build a nice arbor, or maybe a large trellis that they can run on. And of course, there are different types of berries. In most cases, though, when you get berries, it's best to try to get 2 varieties of them, because that way they tend to produce more. And like the blueberries, they say specifically blueberries that they have a better flavor when you have 2 or more different varieties in your garden. And these are some raspberries right here. And bear in mind that some of these, they are a little bit brambly, so they can spread out. So, just be careful, to contain them in a large container if you don't have a lot of space. Speaking of space, there is a berry for everyone. These right here are strawberries, and they can grow in little pots. A little pot, a 14-inch pot, guys. You can grow your strawberries and have so many of them. And it's a gift that keeps on giving, because they have these little runners that come out. You put them in some soil when they're hanging off, and you're going to get a whole new plant from that. So it's a gift that's keep on giving, and they're so good for you. And even just to decorate your dishes, they're so pretty. I just wanted to pause for a moment to invite you to subscribe to our channel if you've never done so before. My husband and I, we do a lot of gardening topics where we try to help you to, have a better gardening experience. He's typically behind the camera, but sometimes he's in front. So be sure to join us and hit the notification bell twice so you never miss an upload. Over here, this is the next trend, which is pale petal pink, sometimes just called pale petal. And these over here, these are some hyacinths right here. That, by the way, was a beautiful rose in my garden that I've had for many years. But these are some hyacinths right here for the colder weather. And they do come up, so you can enjoy that color that way. These are some azaleas right here. And boy, are they gorgeous. Just look at them nodding in the breeze. I think they're so beautiful. And you can see how the color pops right there. These right here, these are some salsa magnolia that we've had for many years in our garden. And one thing I'll say, if you're going for the trends, like a color, just be sure it's something that you will like, that you'll want to have for many years. We have no regrets ever getting this plant. We absolutely love it. You can see how gorgeous the petals are. So, when you're getting your perennials, it's good to just, choose something that you know that you will want there time and time again. So you don't have to try to give the plant away to someone else, or, not be happy with the way it looks. So, and of course, there are annuals too in those colors. It's just to take a look and see what's available at your garden center. And I did a recent video where I showed you what they have at Home Depot, in this time around, not sponsored or anything. I'll link it in the description box. You can check it out when you get a chance. These are some beautiful peonies right here. And boy, Aren't they beautiful? And they smell so sweet. So there's another one that shows that color. These are some evening primrose right here. These are my neighbors that she's had come back for many years, and I think they're so beautiful. And they sell seeds, so they'll keep coming back. As do these dianthus right here, and the creeping phlox. I've had these for many years. I did trim them back a little bit, pull back some of them because they were kind of spreading a lot. But this is how you can enjoy that same pale petal pink color as well. Moving on to the next one, and that would be silver foliage. And silver foliage actually combines really, really well with that pale petal pink. So that's a good combo to have there, if they have similar lighting needs and they're going to be up at similar time of the year. But these are Dusty Miller right here, and they're such a versatile plant. I love them because they're great for cold weather and they're also great for warm weather, guys. So you can have them year round in your garden and they'll be perfectly fine. So just to show you what I mean, right here, these are some that this is the middle of winter right here. And they're pairing up with kale in the center and pansies surrounding them. And you can see they're doing quite well. They love it right there. And so they do really well in cold weather. But also, last summer, I went ahead and I planted some along with some sun patience and some creeping jenny. And they did perfectly well. One thing I'll say about them is that they like to get full sun. You'll want to make sure that you're putting them in an area that gets a lot of sun. Otherwise, they're going to be reaching and then they'll stretch out. Because I did put them on my porch and that happened. So just to give you a heads up on that one. These over here, these are some Japanese painted fern. They're not as popular, but if you find them, they're a good one to have if you have a shade garden because you can see they're pairing them up here with some hostas. So they're both great companions for each other because they love that shaded area. And sometimes it's kind of hard to find good combos for shade, but this is a perfect one. Over here, this is Artemisia, also called wormwood, and some people they use it for medicinal purposes, and some just because of how pretty the color looks, and it's just a different texture, and all of that. Over here, this is called blue mammoth hosta. It's a very large hosta. It can actually grow, they say, to 5 feet across, the whole plant, and even as high as 3 feet tall, guys. So this one probably doesn't need any combination because they do produce beautiful flowers. So I'm just saying, this would be good on its own. But there is that, silvery tone that it has. Number 7 would be climbing roses. And these have been around for some time, but there's more and more of them that you'll see coming out. These are some gorgeous ones that my neighbor had. You can see the evening primrose right in front of it there. But what they're doing is that they're adding vertical interest, so it pulls your eye in and up. So if you have less space to work with, it kind of happens more, with more, people getting houses and they're a little bit smaller in the gardens. So it's good to get those. And these are some examples right here. And again, that video will show you that, the prices for these, different options and so on. So it will be linked in the description box. You can go and check it out when you're finished here if you would like to. And they have lots of different, color combinations, of course. And speaking about vertical interest, these are some clematis that I've had for maybe about 16 years or so. And you can see that they're growing next to my coneflower. So when they go down, the coneflowers come up and they start blooming. So they work really well together. But this is the vertical interest right here, where if you have less space, you put something like that. And I may do a future video on vines, like different options for you, depending on, what growing zone you're in or, what you may be looking for. Moving on to the next one, that would be like your pause points in the garden. You can see this is a nice area right here. This is a raised bed where they use those stones to make an area that's large enough so you can sit on there. So what is happening now with these trends, where it's less fuss and more, about your whole well-being, is to have areas where you pause in the garden and just enjoy it. Not just to pass by for a minute, but to actually sit in there and just relax and just find peace in that space. These are some beautiful larkspur right here. They don't grow in my zone. I really don't see them. We were visiting somewhere else and we saw them there, and I thought they were so, so beautiful. And if you didn't want something that's rustic, there are different options for you, and I'll link some of these in the description box. If you wanted to get some of those, you can always get that and, put them in your garden. Even a chair, just one chair might work. right here, it's also going to like your back patio. So in a recent video, I think this maybe was last summer, depending on when you're watching this, that we did our back patio. And also each season we go in and we decorate the front porch with flowers. So you're going to see different seasons showing right here, where we show you plants that you can use. And it just makes such a wonderful look outside to, move from the garden. It's like a transition point from your garden to get into your house, where you have beautiful fresh flowers there. We do them for the holidays as well too. Another good thing for pause points is like water features. It might not be something as dramatic as this right here. It could just be something as simple and rustic as this right here. But the sound of moving water, it does something to make you relax, to give you that feeling of, yes, let me exhale. So it's very, very beautiful and I love it. And moving on to the next one would be attracting more birds to your garden. And that's by putting out bird feeders, bird baths. It's a good one to have as well. Moving on to number 10, and that would be impatiens. And impatiens, they kind of were not as popular a few years ago because they were having that downy mildew fungus on them. But in recent years, they have found ways to combat that disease, and also too by getting more resistant type varieties. So they're back on the increase again. And I think the prices are, pretty reasonable as compared to many other types of plants. And I plant them in containers, I plant them in my flower beds, just different things I've done with them, and they have never disappointed me. And I find them to be pretty low maintenance and pretty disease resistant, but they do love shade. That really is the best place for them. And it's kind of hard sometimes to get flowering plants for shade, so that's a good one. Over here, these are some New Guinea impatiens, and these are a little bit more resistant to the same fungus I just talked about. They cost a little bit more, but they're really pretty. You can see how the petals look right there, and these are for part sun. Over here, we have sun patiens, and these like part sun or full sun. I'd say they'll try to find areas that don't have afternoon sun if you can. But I've seen them in areas that get sun all day long and they're perfectly fine. These are some west facing ones right here, which gets a lot of sun in the evening. And they did pretty well here with the ornamental grasses, the coleus, and everything they had going on there. So there are different varieties and there are different options. So many color choices. I'd say go for it. Next trend would be ornamental grasses, and those are on the increase. And they're pretty low maintenance, not much to do with them. You will need to cut them back though, either in the late fall or I'd say late winter. Just cut them almost all the way down to the ground and they'll come back up, and they offer texture like I was saying, and just different colors are available, like your fountain grass. This is an annual in my area. Some people may have it come back, I don't know, but it's an annual for me. But you can see when they flower out how gorgeous they are, and just the shape of them is so pretty. And like these right here, these are some cone flowers. So these plants are they're drought tolerant, and they're going more for that, where the grass is, and just other things like this that can withstand some of these changing weather patterns that we're seeing a lot in recent times. Moving on to number 12, and that would be that you're seeing more hydroponics and more like smart technology based type of gardening too. So what I'll do is I'll link the playlist that gives you all the details of hydroponics, so you can grow herbs and like miniature tomatoes, peppers, and those things inside your home. So whether you have a large space like this, garden right here, like a large flower bed to put large flowers, or you have a smaller scale, like my sister's balcony garden right here, there's so many different options available for you to embrace these trends. And I'd love for you to tell me in the comments if you're doing any of these already, or if you plan on doing any of them. Just let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank my channel members and all those of you that come back time and time again, to see the videos that we put out on this channel for you. It gives me so much joy to do them. I find so much peace when I do it. It's just wonderful for me and my husband. And we want to thank you so much for watching. If you're new, I hope that you will consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I do hope to see you in the next video. Happy gardening!